Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief. It's Friday. Where are we? It's Friday and it's the 22nd of July. Okay, good night last night, quite positive optimism over what's happening in Europe. Looks like France and Germany have come to the aid of the IMF, or round the other way, to help Greece in terms of putting together an austerity program. They did actually mention that they would support the euro come what may. Markets took this as a sigh of relief, and obviously equity prices went up. We also had some good corporate earnings in the States. That certainly helped buoy prices as well. And looks like that BHP trade we've got on, I think, might do us proud. At the moment, we're long BHP, expecting some good things, and I think general sentiment of the market might flow towards it to the top side of the range. Remember, we did have those reportings from BHP the other day. Okay, let's have a little bit of a snapshot around the world as to what's actually happened. And let's just grab that now. Where are you? And I guess the key for me at the moment is, just having a look, consolidation, particularly as we're in this summer period in the States or Northern Hemisphere. And it's notorious really for ranging markets. And I think a lot of us have seen those ranging markets of late. Quite frustrating to trade, but I think once you understand what's happening there, it's not too bad. Okay, let's have a little bit of a wrap through. Dow Jones is up 152, 1.21%. The S&P was up 1.35, Nasdaq was up 0.72. Over to Europe, pretty strong nights there. Euro top 50 was up 2, FTSE was up 0.79, CAC was up 1.6, and the DAX was up 95. Local market on Psycom goes up 45 points, and that wasn't too bad. Let me just check that. Up 45 points, 4,579. Looks like that 4,450 seems to be quite a low of some importance, so quite happy about that. And I think it's probably wise that we just have a look at a little bit of a chart on that, because I think that is encouraging. Not so just encouraging for our positions, but I think encouraging for general a lot of people that are holding. There we are. That's low now. I think it's important that we just have a quick look at this. Momentum indicators on the lows. We've bounced up here quite strongly. We've got a good bottom down here. Now this could be reminiscent of just an expanding top. Let's try and expand it a little bit more. There we are. Okay, there we go. And so I'd actually think that we can head back up through that 4,800 from here, given that we have a continuance of plans. Now the market's now happy. I think the market's now happy with what they've seen out of Europe. Now it might last for a week or two until we get other signs of concerns. The States, they have until they've got to the 2nd of August. Now, they will come up together with something, there's no doubt about it. So I think that optimism there, which I think is positive, will help carry a lot of these markets. So I think the next week or two we can look forward to higher prices, just purely on the back of that. Plus you've got those corporate earnings in the States, which are certainly helping the fray. So if anything there, this should help our market stay above that 4,400 area. Remember, the 4,450 area is that bifurcation point we have talked about quite a few times. But as you can see with the chart here, it trades between here and here. And that's pretty much been the summary for most of the week. So let's see what happens there. Okay, let's look at some of our favourites. Obviously the dollar index there, you'd have to expect the dollar to come under pressure. Obviously euro was a bit of an issue there, and there it is, quite a large fall to the downside. It has fallen out of our ascending wedge, okay? This is the pattern which we looked, but as you can see, that bounce to the top side is sometimes a telling point of an exhaustion. That move we saw up here is an exhaustion, but it did break that trend, there's no doubt about it. It had the downside, so dollar weakness. I think that's something we would have had to have expected, given what's happened obviously for Greece. Support the euro firm, dollar down. Let's see what happens over time. The overall picture to me is pretty much summarized by this very large technical move here. This can still go sideways for some time before it decides to even actually test down to that 73.40 level. Okay, so we mentioned about that. Let's have a look at what's happened there on the gold side of things. Gold you'd have to expect to come under pressure. Here it is. Look, it does look quite toppy. I guess what you will find is that gold should come more so under pressure once we get more rhetoric from the US concerning the solving of their, or the increasing of their debt ceiling. So I think you'll see people now start to move away from gold, as we've seen in the past, when the concerns start to alleviate and they move into equities. And this is something that I think is quite important at the moment and probably will see over the next coming days. Silver also came back quite heavily from that high. Consolidation phase, I think, is in play for these markets at the moment. Looking at the currency, Aussie had a very strong move last night, top end of the range. There we are, seems to have just broken out through that area. That 107.75 was the top end we've talked about for some time. Expectations are now, I think, on its way to 110. So let's see how that unfolds. Still quite a bit of time there to go in terms of what's happening there. The good big question for the Aussie, I think, is really the big question, I think, is how are we going to see with what's happening in China? How will that affect Australia? Remember, this is a dollar-related move, US dollar-related, not an Aussie-related move. We looked at that data, the PMI data, particularly out of China yesterday. Not good. Things are slowing down, so that will have some impact on demand for our commodities. But let's see how that unfolds. Okay, so that's that fair for the Aussie. Everything else we've checked. Crude, I think, in a range, but I think given this level of optimism, you'll probably see it test through to that top side, and I think testing through to that 100, maybe even backwards of higher of that area, up through that 102, 103, certainly on the cards. Copper we've talked about. Copper, I think, does come back a little bit. We did get that PMI data out of China yesterday, not as encouraging. Pretty close to signaling the high there for the intermediate, and that's pretty much coming on pretty soon. So I haven't yet signaled it, but certainly getting very close to it. We've got a bit of a slacking on the wheat and grain markets, particularly wheat. Increased supply out of Russia and a fall in export orders caused that market to come under pressure. Not too happy about that. Probably get back to that 650 level, but I still reckon that the story still sounds pretty good with what's happening in the grain complex. Now let's have a look here to today. What sort of numbers? Import prices in Australia. We've got German IFO index stuff, which will be important. It's consumer price index in Canada, but that's pretty much about it. Not a lot elsewhere. So if anything there, I can expect the market to pretty much trade within its range with a bid tone as more people get confident that the austerity measures in Greece are a little bit more fluid than what we've far seen, and also if we get some sort of more talk concerning the raising of the debt ceiling, debt level ceiling in the US, that will then also create that optimism that the market will certainly take on board. Well, that's about it from me. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll certainly talk to you next week. Bye for now.